My name is David White. The most rewarding part of doing this is, and I get feedback like a young man in one of the most recent workshops I did came up and said, I really felt a connection to you as you were speaking, just like I could see that you didn't want people to sell out for something less in life. We really have a choice when we go to lead companies. We can create a mission, create values, and create a strategy, goals and objectives, and we can go out and sell them to everybody if we like. But how much better if people actually have the opportunity to buy in and become part of the whole process. And when you feel like you're part of a process, passion just naturally follows. Individual purpose is much like an organizational purpose. You need to know kind of where you're headed, what success looks like, how you're going to get there. Individual purpose and the collective of an organizational purpose run parallel to each other. If they aren't, then you have people that are just putting in time or hoping to buy their time until retirement or wasted years. If you take the opportunity now to pause and align your personal purpose, identify it first of all, see where you're an individual and what it is that you do in vocation and how those two pieces fit together. There's a lot of empowerment that comes out of that. And I had one fellow said that for the first time in his life, after one of the exercises, he said, for the first time in my life, I understand the congruency that I have in life, but also where I am an individual. When I left my job as CEO, I lost my identity. That's a tragedy, and it doesn't have to happen. Promise is the reason to believe or expect anything. And as an organization, that's important. We can set goals and objectives and budgets, but what reason do we have to believe that we can actually accomplish that? In our personal lives, it's much the same way. Every corporation is just an accumulation of individuals. So the combined talent within the organization, all fulfilling its promise, means that the organization has a better chance of doing the same thing. We bring a values-based system into the organization that helps them to calibrate. And calibration is really nothing more than taking and mapping the journey that you're going to be driving. So you plan any trip, you figure out where you are and where you're headed to, and you set milestones. You're looking for signposts along the way. Those are sort of decision-making filters. Turn left here, turn right there. And that's the way the values-based system works. It really brings in objective decision-making. The biggest problem with most organizations' strategic planning processes are that they produce binders that end up sitting on shelves. They put a lot of time, effort, and money to produce them, but they've never really used them in the process of mapping out their journey or coming back to calibrate. Instead, another couple of years down the road, they create another binder. I know one organization that actually has 7 binders produced in 6 years, so that can get out of hand. When people ask what it is that I do, it's sort of always a long answer. Partly it's a strategist, and I guess in the corporate sense that's correct. Partly I'm a coach, as I work with people one-on-one. That's sort of correct as well. I'm up in front of a crowd, I'm a motivational speaker. But none of those terms really capture the whole thing. A lot of what I do is really a change agent. It's helping people see what they don't see. I love to hear people laugh. I like to really get them stirred up and get them thinking about things they haven't seen, or just looking under rocks or whatever it is, to see what they haven't seen before. But what really moves me is when I get an email after the event and somebody will say something in the email like, I just wanted you to know that I've been struggling with this, or I've been struggling with that. I was losing my meaning in life, or I was struggling with sometimes even addictions. And what you said really made me think that there was hope, and it was possible for me to actually find fulfillment in life. I answer every email. In fact, probably to a fault, I answer every email. There's something about that connection. It's like a trust connection with your audience. If I can't answer every email, then I'm going to do fewer gigs. I'm going to speak to fewer audiences so that I'll have time to answer every email. That's one thing I don't want to let go of. I think that personal connection is, it's like you've been honored, and that's what you're there for. It's, my own personal values for doing this are love, then truth, then relatability, then creativity. If I don't love my audience, I may as well shut up and go home. I don't have anything to say. And if what I say isn't truth, then it's the point of talking. If they can't relate to it, then it's the point of being creative or laying out a story. So part of loving an audience is respecting them enough to respond when they ask a question.